What's up, YouTube? Ryan Panny here. Hope you guys are doing reasonably well. It is time for a review of the new Rittz record, Put a Crown on It, out about 3 weeks ago now, November 29th. I gotta tell you, I'm getting some serious deja vu here, because I remember fall 2017 reviewing Yelawolf and Rittz pretty much back to back. Both great projects, by the way. And here we are 2 years later, and apparently nothing's changed. I have not evolved. I gotta be honest, this new Rittz album has me on a crazy Rittz kick. I have been listening to White Jesus, Johnny Valiant, Next to Nothing, Top of the Line, what's the last one? Last Call. All just pretty much non-stop since I found out this record was dropping. Also, super random point, just for the hardcore Rittz fans watching, there's a bonus track on Top of the Line called Is That That Bitch?, which is like one of the most underrated and realest things he has ever spit. The hook on that one too is nasty. For some reason, I never noticed that track before. Anyway, speaking of real shit, speaking of underrated shit, Rittz has been a personal favorite MC of mine for the last 5-6 years now. Like, if at any time during that time span you had walked up to me and asked who my favorite rappers were out right now, undoubtedly Rittz would have come up every time. For those of you unfamiliar, he's a rapper from Gwinnett County, Georgia. Big break #1 for him was when Yelawolf put him on, more specifically, put him on the Box Chevy song, the original Box Chevy on Trunk Music. And then big break #2 was Tech Nine signing him to Strange Music, for whom he delivered 4 great albums. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, during that time span, he was the best-selling artist on that label besides Tech. So this new album here, Put a Crown on It, is actually his first album since leaving Strange. It's under his label, CNT. And why do I like Rittz so much, you might ask if you're unfamiliar? Well, for one, he's a supremely talented and intricate lyricist and a very disciplined writer. He's got a true knack for beat selection. He's got an ability to write and sing his own hooks, his own melodic hooks, I would add. And maybe above all, he's especially got an ability to just keep things so vulnerable and so 100 about what's going on in his life. And it's an ability that is truly amplified by just how disastrous a lot of his personal life has been. The guy really bears his soul in his music and is an intricate lyricist and has a knack for putting together actual songs with hooks and melodies. And I think all of that is a pretty rare combination in hip hop. So naturally, I've been really excited to hear what Rittz brings to the table here on his first full-length record on his own, which is a pretty big step, an exciting step in his career, especially after Last Call, which was an album where he really proved that he was not afraid to take some chances artistically. There was a lot of experimentation on that album with live instrumentation in particular, a lot of lead guitar, some acoustic guitar as well. There was some experimentation with some real spacey production. Press Rewind and Shooting Star are good examples of that. He brought in kids to sing on one song, which is Indestructible. His flows on that album were all over the frickin' map. For my money, and you can watch my review of it if you want, it was a noticeable creative leap from an artist that, to my ears, just keeps getting better and better with each album. Unfortunately, and to my surprise, frankly, to my true surprise, that trend, that upward trend, kind of reverses on Put a Crown on It, which to a longtime fan feels kind of like a regression in a lot of ways. First off, if we're gonna inevitably directly contrast this one with Last Call, I miss all the live instrumentation, man. I really do. I loved hearing all those cool electric guitar leads all over that album. I loved hearing the occasional piano interlude like on Lose My Cool, the clean guitars that are tucked in there on, what is that, Shooting Star. Press Rewind has the acoustic guitar. Inclusion of these instruments added so much depth to the compositions on that album and really made them feel like compositions, like songs, not just beats with someone rapping over them. That's all but gone on Put a Crown on It, which these beats themselves are quite bare and minimalist and sometimes generic. And it's just Rittz and the beats, that's kind of it. I really miss those extra layers of music. There are a couple of tracks on here that are of note production-wise, particularly Name Tattoo with that killer G-Funk imitation, and also Feed Up, which just has the catchiest fucking bass line. I was surprised to hear Paul Wall sound so good over that beat, and it's, in general, way more of a laid-back, mid-tempo vibe than we're used to hearing Rittz flow over, and he does a great job on this song. But come on, man, Politically Correct, Wake Up Call, Live It Up, On the Line Too. These are songs where the beats are so stripped down that after repeated listens, it's not the good kind of stripped down where you can say that it's subtle and understated and allows and gives him room to be himself. It's more on the side of just monotonous. Like after a few listens, you've heard all the tricks that the song has to offer. And quite frankly, this puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on Rittz just to be a super interesting MC all the time because the beats are so wallpapery. And again, going back to Last Call, I missed that general sense of experimentation that was front and center on that record. Like I said, he brought in kids to sing on Indestructible. He went way spacier on tracks like Press Rewind. He even sped things up and went more ferocious and aggressive on a track like Into the Sky. And then songs on this record like Wake Up Call, with even the features are predictable on this one, with Yellow Wolf and Twista on the same song. They just feel so back to basics, and not in a good way. They're not bad, just back to basics. In fact, the first time that I heard I couldn't escape this feeling that I had heard these exact cadences from him, and the hook was something that I could have, just looking at the song title and having listened to Rittz so much, it's something I kind of could have just imagined in my head and conjured up, and it pretty much would have matched what he ended up doing. And purely rapping wise, I also get that same sense from just his recycled flows on tracks like Live It Up and On the Line and Fake Smile. Live It Up in particular is a song where it really feels like Rittz is phoning it in. It's probably my least favorite Rittz song to date. It sounds like he's not really trying at all. It doesn't sound like he's pushing himself at all. The song Politically Incorrect too. And that one I was excited for conceptually and topically, just to see how Rittz tackled this, I mean, increasingly less so, but still hot button issue of what you can and can't say in the internet age. And you can imagine my confusion when Rittz starts talking about Breaking Bad and the Beastie Boys and the Beatles, as if somehow hating on these things falls into the category of being politically incorrect. Like, I'm not following his train of thought here. All that being said, there are a couple tracks here that do showcase Ritz's versatility. I actually love Toxic and the vivid depiction here of a dysfunctional sexual relationship. The guitars in this beat are so smooth, like Max Martin boy band smooth. I think Ritz's melodic delivery of the verses here, complete with tight vocal harmonies and everything, is really impressive, as is the pop-infused chorus that he delivers well. This is a case of him, again, showing that versatility that he's so fully fleshed out on Last Call. Twin Lakes too, that's Rittz definitely stretching himself artistically. It's a very moving autobiographical ballad about his stint in a recovery center of the same name. That second verse has some really creative rhyme schemes in there, and I again have to applaud him for, as a rapper, having the balls to deliver a fully sung verse as the first one here is. But I love those mid-bar rhymes in the second verse. Like, I told my counselor I fell out of love with lit. Like, he really put a lot of interesting spins on that one. And speaking of vulnerability, one of the things that makes Ritz's music so enjoyable for me, and I almost kind of feel guilty about this, is when he gets personal and opens up about his life. It's this weird medicine for me as a listener, where I immediately start to feel a lot happier and a lot more grateful about whatever it is I'm dealing with at the time, because hearing how much, to me, worse Rittz has it. Like, this guy has been through so much shit, man, and I really admire his tenacity and his perseverance. Music has seemingly infinite ways of making you feel better. Like, if you're feeling this level of shitty, there are songs that inspire you by telling you to come up to here. There are songs that make you feel better about the other person feeling the same level of misery that you're feeling. And then there's Rittz, where wherever you are, he's probably here, at least in song. I don't know about his day-to-day life, but it's kind of funny to reflect on that, like, his music has always kind of been that. And that's why, as listeners and as music fans, we have to be so grateful to artists for, like, spilling their guts like that. It's kind of, imagine being an artist and just knowing that, like, thousands of people know this really intimate personal shit about your life. You're giving that shit away. And the fact that Rittz gives it away so freely is part of what's made his music so powerful. And look, obviously, Ritz's personal life, seeming comparatively worse than mine, is relatively low on the long list of reasons that I've loved his music for so many years, but it's still a thing. I mean, God, financial problems, various drug addictions, alcoholism, suicidality and anxiety, dysfunctional relationships. This dude has had it all. He has a song to make you feel better about having experienced or not experienced pretty much every hardship there is. And that element continues to be a strong element on Put a Crown on It. Despite whatever issues I have with the actual songs themselves, that element of his music is definitely retained. I'd say overall on this album, there are about 5 tracks with replay value for me. Let's see here. Feet Up, definitely. Sound Check's a good one. Toxic, Twin Lakes, Name Tattoo, maybe Fake Smile if I'm feeling generous. But all in all, that adds up to Ritz's worst album to date. And trust me, I went back and listened to all of his albums over and over and over again. Like I said, I was on a real Rittz kick when this first got announced. So I have check my work many times over before making such a claim. And unfortunately, it's a true claim. And because of that reason, this is probably the hardest review that I've had to do all year, just because of how much I love Rittz. But look, man, it happens to your favorite artist too. Megadeth put out Super Collider, you know? I'm Only Human would probably be Ritz's appropriate response. But I guess to end this review on a more positive note, if you're new to Rittz and you're at all curious about getting into him, pretty much anything from White Jesus through Last Call would be a great start. Highly encourage you to check out any and all of it. I wouldn't recommend this record though, like at all. Ironically, it may impress people who are maybe unfamiliar with Rittz and aren't fully aware of what he's capable of and what he's proven that he's capable of. But trust me, as someone who's listened to his music for a long time, he has made way more interesting and way better music than this. So just trust me on that. Skip over this one, but please, if you are at all interested, go check out the rest of his catalog. Put a Crown on It gets a 5 out of 10 for me. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video and are not yet subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so by clicking right over here, as well as checking out any other music-related content that I publish here on a weekly basis. Really appreciate you watching, liking, disliking, commenting, just engaging in any fashion. Twitter, Instagram handle @RyanPannyMusic. Again, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you soon.